Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the Mighty Jingles, featuring a tank that we have never seen before here on this channel. This is T-30 Enjoyer in the Object 780 in this Tier 10 standard battle here on the highway map. So what the hell is the Object 780 and how do you get it? I'm not entirely clear whether or not you can still get it anymore. This was a tank that was introduced in a new feature called the Assembly Shop. So it's not a tech tree tank, but it's not really a premium tank either. And I think it was limited to 50,000, i.e. the first 50,000 people who dedicated resources to building it were the only ones who could get it, or something like that. Obviously, T-30 Enjoy was one of them. I'm just going to call him T-30 from now on, by the way, at the risk of confusing everybody into thinking that's not a T-30 Jingles, what are you talking about? It's obviously an Object 780, but I mean, hopefully enough of you will understand what I mean. It's an interesting tank. I mean, it's a very good tank. You'd expect it to be, given its limited production run. But there are things about it that are either just downright silly or don't make an awful lot of sense. This tank is based on an actual design from the 1960s that was developed but obviously never built, and it was developed around the 125mm rifled gun that would become the default armament of most modern Russian tanks. The whole tank was designed as a platform for transporting this soon-to-be standard issue rifled 125mm gun around potential battlefields. And so naturally in-game they gave it a 130mm gun. And not even the same or a development of any of the existing 130mm guns that already equip Soviet heavy tanks in World of Tanks. They made up an entirely new 130mm gun. And I just don't get it. I mean, if you're making shit up anyway, make up the 125mm gun that this thing was supposed to have. And it's not any old 130mm gun either. It has extremely high alpha damage compared to other Soviet 130mm guns. It pays for it by having a slower reload, of course, but this thing will quite easily push out more than 500 damage a hit. So that's the thing about this tank, and now here comes the ho-ho-ho thing about this tank. Yeah, you see where he was hit there? That is a weakness. The cupola on the top is extremely thin, and it's not a huge target, but if you hit it, you can expect to penetrate this tank from the front. The funny thing about the armour protection on this machine is the lower glacis at the front, which obviously T-30 here, as you can see, is taking extreme pains to cover up. Because if you go to the World of Tanks wiki page entry for this machine, and you look up, you know, they give you a list of pros and cons about the tank. And one of the downsides of this tank, I hope you're sitting down, all strapped in for this one, right? One of the downsides of this tank is that the lower glacis, though small, can be easily penetrated by gold ammo. Oh well. It's nice to know this thing isn't completely overpowered. It's nice to know that we all at least have a chance against it. I mean, come on, what? You know they're getting really desperate to find something bad to say about a machine when they have to play the old certain parts can be easily penetrated by gold ammunition card. Anyway, yeah, suffice to say, it's a fairly good tank. Great mobility for such a heavy machine as well. Huge alpha damage, good aiming time, slow reload, but watch out, lower glacis can be penetrated by gold ammunition. Oh, that's never going to get old. Right, anyway, yes. So, T-30 here in the 780, that's never going to get confusing, is it? Gotten a bit tired of just sitting there trading shots with the E100, tries to work his way around and get some flanking shots in, and it kind of works out for him, but it also kind of doesn't. I mean, he got the shot, but he didn't get away with it scot-free. He's going for a spot reverse side scraper here. This is actually not a terrible tactic in this machine. The side armour is 100mm thick, so this can actually work. Reverse side scraper, that is. You probably don't want to regular side scrape, you know, from the front, because of the whole cheeks are sort of pre-angled in the same way that the IS-7 and the IS-3 is. So angling around the corner actually presents a flat armour surface to be shot back at, which I suppose you could count as one of the weaknesses of this thing. It's not much of a weakness. I mean, the cheek armour at the front there is still 145mm thick. Oh, he's going to try it. Let's see if it works. I mean, the E100 has absolutely no shot at him. He doesn't have much of a shot against the E100 either. Oh, wow. That was impressive. I think we can safely assume that that E100 is not having a lot. Oh, well, yeah, he's dead. Okay. And T30's team have just gone ahead for the first time in this battle. It's only one kill though. You've seen how quickly things can swing around in this game. Can't stop putting some of that mobility to use. Although for a machine of this size, it's not actually that heavy. It's only 50 tons. Oh, he's going for the shot on the Super Conqueror. He's got the lower glacis, which can be penetrated quite easily by all ammunition, not just gold. Enemy team have equalised the kills and they're 3,000 hit points ahead, although not for long. If T30 here has anything to say about it, there we go. Oh, he's lost a lot of health in the process though. He's immobilised, he's not using the repair kit. I guess he thinks he's fairly safe. The thing is, it's that cheek armour. Going for the rangefinder on the Foch. Doesn't look like he got a hit. Somebody spanked the Foch 155, but it wasn't him. Possibly a Leopard 1 back there. Right, okay, there's the kill. Once again, the team are ahead. And once again, the enemy team closed the gap. 7 kills apiece, but the enemy team are still 3,000 hit points ahead. They've lost the Leopard 1, they've just lost the Object 260, but the way ahead appears to have been mostly cleared, with the exception of the E50M, who's still kicking around, although it looks like he is being overwhelmed. They're going to have to deal with him fast, because things are not looking too good over at the other end of the map. Okay, there's another potential victim. Oh yes, yes, yeah, we're going to have this. He's going to have to leave the rest of the team to deal with the E50M, while he and the Object 705 double team his hands. Oh. I don't think much of the IS-4's chances of surviving this encounter. Oh, there's the engine fire. He's used the extinguisher. This gun does have a fairly slow reload. They're going to have to hurry up and kill him faster than this though. Oh. Here's the extra tank he ordered, because the enemy Batchat 25T has just eliminated the last base defender, the S-Tank. And in a highly unusual move, for a game of World of Tanks, the enemy team are actually capping. At the moment there are 2 of them in the cap circle. But normal service is partially restored as at least one of the guys in the cap circle has decided no cap kill all, while his team are behind a kill. Although they are still ahead by a significant margin as far as hit points are concerned. Although not for that much longer. You've got to ask yourself, how quickly would this battle have been over if both of these guys had decided to stay inside the cap circle? Because with just one of them in there, they're a minute away from winning. So with 2 of them in there, they would have been 30 seconds away from winning. At the same time though, while it's always good for a cheap laugh to point at somebody like that who refused to take the cap and instead chose to fight to the bitter end, you have to accept the fact that if he hadn't chosen to fight, most of these guys would have been at least halfway to their base, and very probably already be overwhelming and taken apart what I presume is the Batchat. Oh no, it's the Udas. The Batchat just fell off a cliff. Never underestimate the value of a good distraction. I mean, the Death Star's just gotten spotted in the open over there, and a number of tanks on the team, rather than continuing to rush and defend the base, T-30 himself included, did stop to pop some shots off at him. And the Udas is now less than 20 seconds away from winning, although he has been spotted. They've got to reset him fast though, and they've done it. And then they killed him. I mean, you could argue that if the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen had stayed inside the cap circle, the enemy team would have won 20 seconds ago. But then you could also argue that it wouldn't have made any difference, because if he hadn't come out to fight, none of these guys would have stopped in order to engage him and clear him out before continuing on into the base. So, I mean, like I say, it's easy to point at somebody who goes no cap kill all. And a lot of the time that is basically exactly what's happening, and the people concerned are effectively throwing the game for their team, but it's not always the case. Sometimes there are other circumstances that you need to take into consideration. Circumstances like the presence of the Death Star. So for those of you who don't know what that thing is, that used to be the British Tier 10 tank destroyer, and technically still is, although now it's a premium. It got removed from the tank tree. Everybody who still had it could keep it as a premium. It's got a 183mm gun. When it goes off, it sounds like the sun coughing. It does nearly 1200 alpha damage with 310mm of penetration. Do try not to get hit by one of those things, although it's dead now. And the team are now 2 kills ahead. And finally, I think for the first time since the beginning of this match, they actually have a hit point advantage. The only things left are enemy artillery. Oh, and there's one of the little buggers. Heading for the water in the middle of the map, probably trying to drown himself. And that moment when you have a gun that can do 530 alpha damage, and it's still not enough to one-shot artillery. Haha, missed me. No point in sitting around waiting for the reload. Ramming speed, and there's the final kill. Game over. And T-30 Enjoyer in the Object 780 didn't get a huge amount of kills, there's no Top Gun there, but it's still a mark of excellence for his gun barrel, the Ace Tanker, the Confederate, and with 8,200 damage done, also the high caliber. Surprisingly, or perhaps not that surprisingly, given the amount of gold flying around in both directions, and the fact, of course, let us not forget that one of this tank's weaknesses is that its lower glacis can be penetrated quite often by gold ammo. Yeah, that one's never going to get old. His armour, well, actually, it did all right. I mean, he was hit 7 times. Only 3 of them penetrated, and one of those was as a result of splash damage. Somewhat unsurprisingly, though, given the calibre of lead that was being slung around in this battle, those 3 hits were almost enough to wipe him out. So his armour definitely saved him by blocking 1100 damage there. But it could have been better, it could have been worse. Either way, that's a mark of excellence and an ace tanker with more than 8,000 damage done for T-30 Enjoyer and this standard battle here on the highway map in the Object 780. Hope you enjoyed today's battle, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.